Hey everybody, it's Matt, your favorite insane bald author. Little update, 2 weeks ago today I did have a stroke. Still having a few issues. Luckily can use my right hand some. About the heaviest thing I can lift is my TV remote. Dropped it, sorry about that, but I wanted to talk to y'all tonight because I have written a new book. I have broke into the genre of lit RPG. Now you may be asking what that is. Um, it's the best way I can explain it is like a fantasy world where the characters level up, have certain powers like video games, D&D, or whatever else. Super popular series right now that kind of inspired it is called Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Denneman. I suggest you check it out. The audiobooks, oh my god, will leave you laughing. Anyway, I'm going to be reading you the first chapter tonight of my newest book, Matt Knapp, Discount Exorcist. Yes, I know. I'm Matt. For y'all that don't know, my full name is David Matthew Knapp. I go by Matt a lot. Some people call me David. It's your preference. But this is a book that I decided, I'm an ordained minister. Why the hell not make fun of myself? If you can't laugh at yourself, then you don't need to laugh at anybody else. Hope you like my background. I like it. I don't really care if you do. It's whatever if people don't like it. But here we go. Matt Knapp, Combat Exorcist. Chapter 1. Maybe Thursdays ain't that bad. The day the world changed for me was a Thursday. And normally, I hate Thursdays. I really do. In my opinion, worst day of the week, hands down. Now this is going to sound insane, but every word is the truth. I mean, I'd be lying if I said it doesn't sound insane. But this is about how on boring Thursday evening, my life changed forever. It happened when I was driving home. I had been out performing a wedding. Look, I'm not religious or anything, but I go to Ordained online, and I make extra money doing weddings, which I really do. After the wedding, I decided to go fishing. I pulled off the road and parked next to the creek. I had on my nice shirt and tie, but I gave zero fucks. I wanted to go fishing and blow off steam. The bride had turned out to be my ex-wife. She had divorced me for someone else. It's a long story. No need to get into it. I had considered ditching it and telling him to find someone else, but I kind of needed the money, and $500 for a 5-10 minute ordeal was hard to pass up. But seeing her again bothered me. We hadn't been divorced a full week, and there she was marrying someone else. She pretended she had no idea who I was, so I gritted my teeth and got it over with. And then I collected my money and left. I was sitting on the creek bank when my phone started screeching. I thought it was a missing child alert, so I checked it out. Instead, it was something I had never seen or heard of before. Dimensional breach imminent. Do not enter any portals. Avoid traveling. Stay indoors and await further instructions. What the fuck? I asked as I reread the alert several times. What's a dimensional breach? There was a second message. Unauthorized entrance to alternate dimension is punishable by federal prosecution. I heard sirens in the distance, so I jumped in my truck and started to leave. That's when I heard the broadcast on the radio. That's right, Jim. Reports are coming in from all over. An elaborate hoax has been played. People are reporting strange alerts on their phones. There is no need for an alarm. This is simply a hoax. As the DJ said that, something appeared in the road. I slammed on my brakes and blinked. There was a rippling hole, floating a few inches above the pavement. I leaned back in my seat and stared at it. It widened as I sat there. I saw what looked like a street on the other side. My phone buzzing caught my attention again. It was under a stack of papers, which was one of the reasons for my sour mood. The divorce papers I had signed less than a week before. The divorce had been quick and easy, but it still annoyed me. I had signed everything and gotten it over with. There were no kids, and the house had been mine before we met, so it was uncontested, but she couldn't even be bothered to show up for the proceedings. The judge had been less than pleased. He had granted the divorce without issue. I picked up my phone and read the message. Entering that portal will result in immediate termination of your rights as a citizen of Earth. This is your only warning, Mr. Knapp. I looked at the message on my phone and snorted in laughter. I had always suspected the government was watching everyone. Is that a fact? Fuck it, I said, putting the truck in drive. I braced for impact, but none came. I passed smoothly through the portal. I looked in the rearview mirror and saw it was gone. I was sitting on a dark street in front of a rundown storefront. The neon sign read New Life Orientation Center. I had no idea what it meant, but it was the only thing around. There was a man in a rocking chair in front of the building. He was wearing a green tweed suit and a matching hat. Well, come on, let's get you registered, he said as he stood. I looked at him in the storefront again. Are you deaf? Or maybe you don't speak English. I was afraid of this. He then began speaking in several different languages. I speak English, I told him. He sighed and shook his head. Then by all means, get your ass inside. We ain't got long. I hesitantly got out of my truck, unsure of what I was walking into. I grabbed the ball bat I kept behind my seat. I stepped out of the truck and followed him inside. The inside of the store was plastered with posters. One of them depicted a man dressed like a wizard, tossing a ball of lightning. Another was of a man in armor fighting a monster and a dragon. So what is this place? I asked him. He gestured at an empty chair. I sat down and he sat across from me. Welcome to the help room. He looked at me surprised. I must say, sir, I figured you'd be freaking out, he said, shuffling some papers. I shrugged. Dude, I'll level with you. I smoked a huge joint earlier and I'm stoned as hell right now. It's been a shit day, and I figure, either I've snapped or maybe I died and it's just my mind shutting down. He raised an eyebrow and scribbled something on the clipboard he was holding. Nope, you're alive, and it's rude to show up to a meeting high. Next time, bring enough to share. Moving right along, you are not dead, nor are you insane. You are... He paused and looked at something on the wall and blinked in surprise. It was a small screen. There were rows of scrolling text. Damn, you're the first person to come through one of the provided portals. Wow. I guess the government wasn't fucking around this time. Well, no matter. I looked at him shocked. Are you saying this is real? I asked him. He looked around and nodded. Yes, I am your interdimensional liaison, Murphy, he said with a smile. I entered into a magical portal. He nodded. So I'm in another world. He shook his head. Well, yes and no. It's complicated, but I guess in a way, you are. I leaned back in my chair in shock. So what's the game plan? Do I, enter some kind of weird dungeon? And do I get a talking cat? Because that sounds fun, but cats are jerks. And being on an alien reality TV show sounds like a horrible way to die. Murphy looked at me blankly. Can I go to a world where I get to level up? You know, the kind where I get cool powers and shit. Or are you going to send me to a fantasy world where I have to live in a stable with a bitchy goddess whose only redeeming quality is her body? You know, she's hot and all, but you have zero chance of getting laid. I may be divorced, but I have no plans of being a monk. So, a world like that is out. Or am I going to be sent to a world where a space fish is king? Murphy leaned forward and looked at me closely. Do you have a life outside of anime and audiobooks? He asked. I shrugged. Well, I like to go fishing, and today I performed a wedding. He shook his head and groaned. Oh, okay, so this is going to be harder than I thought. Okay, so here's the deal, he said slowly so that I would understand him. Upon entering the portal, you have two choices. Go back to Earth and face prosecution. That alert wasn't bullshit. The government knew about this, and they are, as we speak, stopping people from entering. Or you can choose a kick-ass class and go to another world. I continued to stare at him blankly. He groaned again. Oh, okay, look, it's like this. The powers that be have been tampering with magic and things they shouldn't. And my bosses were all like, hey, let's open portals all over the world and see what happens. Each portal leads to a different world, but you were the first through. So you get special privileges, one of which is you get to undergo orientation before going to another world. He snapped his fingers and a questionnaire appeared on the table before me. Fill that out, and it'll speed things along. I looked it over and frowned. I'd been expecting something outlandish. Instead, it was boring. It asked for my name and things like occupation, if I had any certifications, and what my hobbies were. It took me less than 5 minutes to fill it out. Once I was done, he looked it over. Okay, so you don't play an instrument, so Bard is out. Oh ho, you're an ordained minister, he said, looking at me in the bat I was carrying. A broad smile crossed his face. So, then, are you cleared to perform? Any sacred rites of the church? He asked me hopefully. I shrugged. I guess it's what the internet said when I got ordained. I leaned back and thought of the ad I had saw that day all those years ago. Weddings, funerals, baptisms, and even, yes, exorcisms. Just enter your birthday, email, and address. And get ordained today. Help others find their way to Jesus today. I, of course, applied and began doing weddings on the side. I had thought the exorcism thing was a joke. I shook my head and looked at Murphy. He reached into his desk and pulled out a small book and tossed it to me. That's your help guide, he said as I called it. You seem to like fantasy, and as the first person to willingly enter a portal, I'm clear to do you a huge favor. Now, Cindy, instead of sending you to some medieval-type world, since you seem partial to that old truck of yours, and, well, outhouses are just nasty. And between you and me, those places are more trouble than they're worth. You seem to be a pretty decent guy, so I'm sending you to some place more modern. And based on your answers, I have the perfect job for you. I shook my head. Dude, what the fuck are you talking about? I asked him. Murphy smiled and opened his arms wide. Let me put this in terms you'll understand. You have been isekai'd. And without being hit by a truck, you get to go to a fantastic world full of magic. You get cool powers and an awesome job. I heard him, but my mind kept going back to the weed I'd smoked. Maybe it was laced or something, I thought. So what do you say to that? He asked me. I realized he'd been talking. Yeah, sure, as long as I'm not sent to a world as some creature without genitals. Because I'm going to level with you. If I'm sent to some fantasy world full of hot, single elf girls, I'm going to try to fuck one or 40. I mean, I feel bad for those guys in those animes. They get sent to worlds full of supernatural hotties and can't do shit with them. Or they're so fucking scared they don't even try. I'm like, dude, that demon chick wants to ride your piss weasel like a pogo stick. Go for it! But he never does because he's too much of a bitch. Murphy's mouth twitched and he doubled over laughing. Finally! Someone said it out loud, he said between bursts of laughter. No worry, buddies. Okay, so a world with elves. Got it, he said, writing on some papers. I just need you to sign here, he said, pointing. I grabbed a pen and shrugged. So, can I keep the truck? I asked. He nodded. Of course. Haven't you been listening? Now just head straight down the road and you'll find a portal to your new home. I thanked him and walked to the door. Oh, by the way, what's my job title or class or whatever? I asked him. He tossed me my bat and smiled. Based on your answers and personality, I have picked the perfect one. He pointed at me and grinned. From here on out, you are Matt Knapp, combat exorcist. Now go out and kick some ass. And that was chapter 1 of my new book, Discount Exorcist. Guys, I'm telling you, you'll get a kick out of it. The bat, I'm a spoiler alert right now. It becomes what's called a sentient weapon, which means it's intelligent, it's alive. Its name is Bitch Fat. Trust me. And I don't want to spoil the book, but I wrote this book in less than a week. A little over 200 pages. I figure the audiobook, when I get it done, will be between 5 to 7 hours. That'll probably be next year because, like I said, right now I'm not working. Do have some people in mind that I would like to do it, but it costs quite a bit, and keeping the lights on, water going, food, stuff like that is more important. It don't cost me nothing to publish these books, but it is available on Kindle. I got the paperback and hardback set up, but if you've got the Kindle app on your phone, you can download it. Share and tell your friends and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's sci-fi fantasy. It's slice of life. Slice of life means that there's not like some huge world-ending quest in it. It's like day-to-day life. It's like the heroes or whatever. Just they're living a normal life. They're just doing all. He works a job. He gets a job at a bar. He gets a girlfriend. He fights demons and shit like that. But it's not like one of these, we're on an epic quest like Lord of the Rings. That's epic. That's a great one. But, it's just like just the daily life of these people. Things they go about doing. But it's all sci-fi fantasy. It's me. It's crazy. Either you'll like it and you got good taste, or you won't and you don't have good taste. And in that case, to each their own. I'm not gonna hate on you if you don't like it. Not every book out there is for everybody, and that's okay. But appreciate y'all watching this. Go over my YouTube channel, Nap Rider Books. Hit the subscribe button. Something like that. Follow my author's page on Amazon, David Knapp, David Knapp author on Facebook. Follow that. Share. Tell your friends. I've got other books out there. Not all of them are insane like this. I've got a Western series. I mean, just think Supernatural and the old show Gunsmoke got together and had a baby. A lot of people like it. It's surprisingly popular in Africa. But hey, thanks for everybody that's been checking up on me. Y'all have a good night. I'm going to get off here and I think I'm going to go to bed. Thanks, guys.